Freaky fun for everyone. Sold
Leonardo, the katana blade. My God.
Attack the evil Inhumanoid, forcing him back into the earth.
Hey, the name's Boglins. You sold separately.
We battle our He-Man and Skeletor each sold separately. You put them out together.
Turn them into the light, and they change into even more powerful.
Battle against Lion-O and the new Thundercat ally.
As many of you know, last year I had a midlife crisis. No, I didn't start dating a 16-year-old girl or buy a sports car or anything like that. But for some reason I got into sports. I don't know why. I finally hit the birthday. I was over the hill, and one day I turned on the TV and soccer was on. That's right, international football, what we call soccer, and I became a fan. I don't know why. Again, I've never really liked sports my entire life, but yet somehow something just clicked. So the other day when I was in the store and I happened to see soccer toys, yeah, these are buildable brick play sets and minifigs, and boy are these things awesome. Let's take a look. Now, as you can see, we've got a few different types of sets here. We've got these blind bag figures. We'll take a look at those in a moment. We also have these buildable locker sets, and I've got a few of those that we'll be taking a look at. And then I have this Playmaker set, and I've only been able to find this for Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. I've also found these team sets, and I found this giant set for Real Madrid. Now, I haven't picked these up yet, but they do have them available at my local Toys R Us. Pour one out on the curb for them. And so I may go back and pick those up on sale, but we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, let's take a look at some of these sets. First of all, this Playmaker set here, as you can see, it's Manchester City. It has the look of those... I don't want to say the name because those people always freak out, but it's the buildable brick sets that I think everybody knows worldwide. And here they even have a works with major brands, you build it. So you know that it's compatible with Mega Blocks and those other construction kits. Now you can see this set has the basically the goalkeeper's box. We've got this scoreboard up here. We've got a referee. We've got a couple players here from Manchester City. We even have a seal here. I'll adjust the camera a little bit, and you can see it's got the actual Manchester City seal there. So you know this is an authorized product. Character on the side. Shows characters on the side. We've got just, some basic stuff on the sets here. This is from a company called The Bridge Direct, which has been making a lot of toys recently. Some of the handheld arcade kits and things like that. Not stuff generally of the greatest quality, so we'll see how this stacks up to some of the other buildable brick toys out there. But in the back you can see here, buildable goals, scoreboard, corner flags, couple figures, a little ball. Colors and styles may vary, it says, which they really shouldn't because, well, this is, meant to be a team here, and you really want your main team here. But anyway, regardless, it's been very difficult for me to find a lot of information on these because, quite frankly, no one seems to know what they're called. See, if you go down here, you can see that it says to find all your favorite players at oyosports.com. Well, I went to oyosports.com. There is nothing about these sets on there. Sure, they've got NFL, they've got NBA, they've got NHL, they've got MLB, all kinds of American sports, but nothing about these international teams. So I don't know if maybe it's because I'm in the United States, I go to the website and it kicks me to a US specific as opposed to some international. I don't know, maybe I'll try it through a VPN later. But nonetheless, sometimes these are called OYO buildable sets. Sometimes they're called C3 construction sets. So I'm not really sure what these things are supposed to be called. But like I said, Toys R Us was the only place that I've been able to find them. And, you know, if I can find some more online, I probably will buy them. But you can see right up here, we've got the buildable figures. I got to keep those in the light there. I need to get a better lighting system on this camera. But let's get a zoom in here. One thing I find interesting is the artwork shows the referee as having a whistle in his mouth, but here you can see there's no whistle. We do have our Sergio Aguero, Claudio Bravo here. Also, another interesting thing is that if you look at the artwork, those two have hair. Yet here in the minifigs, there's no hair. So maybe those are inside, maybe not, but we will take a closer look. Let's get this box open. So here's what awaits you on the inside. You've got your instruction booklet here that shows you how to build everything and where all the stickers are supposed to go. And it looks like everything's kind of broken down into these. There's the goals. There's stuff. There's more stuff. Not sure exactly how all of this works out, but I did notice that in this bag here, we've got what appears to be a soccer ball that they can hold, a half soccer ball that you can use to pose, and then there's the hair. So, yes, the hair does exist. And our minifigs are kept in a nice, I thought they would just be kind of stuck to the window on the front of the package, but they're actually in their own nice little case here, which is pretty cool. But, all right. We're going to jump in here and we're going to get this thing built. Now, one thing I found that is kind of interesting to me, at least, is I assumed this would be one big slab with just some white lines painted on it. But no, this is something you actually build. They give you green pieces of a lot of different sizes, a lot of different lengths, and even white pieces of different lengths. And you actually build this as a dual layer brick base using different size pieces to fill in the space. So I don't know how well any of this shows up on camera, but you can actually see that these are made from multiple pieces filling in the space, which is, again, to me, it's interesting because not only does it give you options, you can take this apart and use the pieces in a different way, but then you don't have white lines on a green base. Like if you wanted to use these green pieces in a regular brick set, just as grass to build a house on or something like that, you can, because these are different shapes and different sizes stuck together in order to make this one piece. And it's extra strong, so you're less likely to have it warp, or you go to pick it up and it's going to fall apart or anything like that. It's actually a nice thing that I didn't even consider when I started putting this thing together. The other thing I've noticed is that these little bags full of pieces, no rhyme or reason. I've had to pull some out of this bag and some out of this bag to go with the big green pieces to build this thing. It has made absolutely no sense which bag those pieces are in. So maybe they're on just different parts of the factory line. I don't know. But these bags have absolutely nothing to do with what you're building out of them. So just a couple interesting things. I hate putting on labels. I hate putting on labels. I hate putting on labels. Oh, that better be perfect. That better be perfect. I hate stickers. I hate them. Oh, it's not perfect. Oh! And here's our set. Now, this Playmaker set is actually not bad when you really look at it. Overall, it's a neat idea. You've got the scoreboard basically behind a goal. You've got your penalty box with your goalkeeper, your referee, and your guy who's trying to score. Of course, your goalkeeper and your player are, both on the same team, so you really don't want, your striker kicking a goal in this particular set, because then he's scoring an own goal. But there's a couple things that stand out, a little odd. First of all, I had to do the stickers. I hate that. I hate always doing that. The scoreboard piece up here actually rotates. There's nothing in the back there, but presumably if you had a couple of these sets, I guess you could put some artwork from another team on there and then flip them around, whoever scores or whatever. I don't know if maybe there's you cut an action shot out of the box and maybe stick it in there. I don't know. But it's just kind of odd that there's that extra spot on the back where you could put another piece of artwork if you wanted to. As far as the figures go, though, the haircuts on both of them are exactly the same. Even though Aguero should have darker hair than Bravo, it's the exact same hairpiece, so whatever. They're pretty much interchangeable. And this referee here, I mean, honestly, if you took this same figure and just, printed a sweater vest on him instead, this could be Pep standing at goal side, just cheering on the team. But whatever. I mean, these figures, as far as these little figures go, really what's going to set him apart is, I mean, he's got a little bit of facial hair, but it's really about the outfits that they're wearing. If they've got the right kit on, then you know which team they're from. One thing about these figures, though, they're not the greatest. These pieces are very loose. They slide off very easily. If you're not careful, some of these pieces will fall out. They could get lost. The ball, both of these have these little indents. Now, first of all, I saw this hole, and I thought, well, that's great. You could peg it down, and it won't roll away, but the hole is actually much, much smaller. So I don't really know what the point of that hole is. I mean, I don't know. You're supposed to stick them up here? That actually kind of fits, oddly enough. But they're going to get lost if someone's not holding on to them, which kind of sucks. There are these cutouts here, and those cutouts are for a hand. If you look at it, you can see that it's curved, just like the hands have the little curve in them. That's just kind of the standard minifigure look to them. The problem is these pieces are so loose on the minifigures that once you attach it to the hand, it's stronger than the connection of the hand to the arm. So you really can't just have them like holding it up there. If you balance it just right, you can get it to hold a little bit, but otherwise it just kind of falls over because these things, they really don't stick in very well. They don't hold as well as some of the other minifigures that you've seen. So maybe if there's some other brand figures, you could use the body and the legs on, but otherwise use their arms and hands. That might work out a little bit better in the long run. But you can see, as far as they go compared to other minifigures, they have the same little spots for the pips in the back. The feet actually move a little more, so that's kind of cool. It's got the names, it's got their numbers. He's a number 10, so he's a good player. That's how that works. But overall, it is a nice looking set. I can see this as being one of those things that you put together and sit on a shelf, and it just kind of looks cool sitting there with the rest of your stuff. So it's a neat little set overall, but like I said, these guys are both on the same team. You only have the one goal. You don't want him scoring an own goal against his own guys, so that kind of sucks. But if we take a closer look here, you can see that they've got the sponsorship. If I can get it to focus right there. Come on, there we go. You can see that he's got the badge of Manchester City right on there. They've got the number printed down here on the shorts. So, generally speaking, it's not a bad-looking minifig, all things considered. I mean, yes, there's not a lot of detail to it. You just got a name across his chest, and that's it. But minifigs were never supposed to be highly detailed in the first place. They are supposed to look a little weird. Little basic, and you can see they do have different faces. So even though Claudio Bravo here, it looks like he's got this really fat head with this tiny little face, you can see that he is different. Now, as far as the goalkeeper goes, they don't try to give you anyone specific. It's just kind of your basic all-purpose minifig guy. But you can see he basically has the same eyes, the same nose over here as Aguero. they're just shaped a little differently, sized a little differently, but it's the same artwork, just drawn a little differently. But, you know, I mean, again, minifigs are supposed to be basic, and these guys are pretty basic. But I think overall, it is a neat set. It looks pretty cool. The price isn't too bad on it. So, you know, if you've got your favorite team, you know, maybe a couple key players that you like, your favorite squad, then no problem. These are, you know, pretty much a no-brainer, a fun thing to just have to throw on the shelf with your collection of other memorabilia for your squad. And there's some neat stuff here. All right, so we're going to stop playing with this for now. Let's jump into these buildable locker sets. All right, so here are our locker sets. And you can see we've got Messi, we've got Sanchez, we've got Coutinho. Although part of the problem is that these can quickly become outdated. It's a problem in every sports collectible, whether it's trading cards or video games or whatever, because of course Sanchez has now moved to Manchester United. Coutinho is now at, well, actually Barcelona. So I technically could buy another Messi and just swap the heads maybe. But then I guess, again, the heads really aren't that key to these buildable figures. But you can see that these two, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're both part of, obviously, the Premier League. And so you can see that they've got the white boxes with the logos on them. And they do have these holographic seals, you know, again, for these specific clubs. So you know that they're fully authorized. Barcelona has this neat blue set, or blue box, I guess you could say. And it just, I guess, maybe to make La Liga look a little different, or maybe it's just better colors for Barcelona. I'm not exactly sure. But unfortunately, Barcelona doesn't do holographic seals. They just get that little logo up in the corner. And then you can see here, actually on the side, they've got the Barcelona seal. I mean, it's like the website, and it's some Spanish there. You can also see it's the Catalonia website there listed at the bottom. Different from Spain. Should be independent, but that's a story for another day. The reason why that makes a difference, though, is that if you look at the boxes, you can see that they are pretty much the same. It's just that Barcelona seal down there, whatever, with their URL, makes the figure look smaller on the size of the box. So Messi looks tiny compared to these other guys, although in the game, he's much more of a giant, right? And then back of the box, you can just see, you know, the stuff that's on the inside. It shows you that you've got the press conference backdrop, the interview podium, the buildable locker, and then you've got a locker bench there. And it shows that for Barcelona, actually, there are other players that have locker sets. So if you want Suarez, if you want Piqué, if you want Neymar Jr., oops, he's now in Paris, or Ter Stegen, they do have those available as well. But amazingly enough, you look at Liverpool and Arsenal, and they don't name any of the other players. I guess they just kind of decided those guys, nobody really cares as much, I guess, about the rest of the players on Liverpool and Arsenal. Or maybe they just want to scattershot a little more across the Premier League with some of those players, as opposed to La Liga, which really, Madrid, Barcelona, those are the only two teams that really get any notice. Well, I mean, Atletico, I guess you could argue. But anyway, let's move on from there. Let's open these up and take a look. All right, now I figure these locker sets are all pretty much going to be the same. So I started with Sanchez here, and I always liked Alexi. He seemed like a nice guy. And so you've got your instructions here: parental guidance, surveillance parental. Inside, you can see that there's a lot of pieces here. Oh my gosh, this is 95 pieces. The other set was 100 plus, it said. So basically the same number of pieces almost for a much smaller buildable set. But hey, I guess that's great for building stuff if you really like building. But my main concern when it came to putting this together is how many of these stupid things are actually going to be stickers. And you can see there's the sheet right here. Not too many. The nameplate across the top, the extra kit that's hanging in the locker, the backdrop for the press conference thing, and then the little one that goes right on the podium. So not too bad, I guess. But again, there's no hair here, so it's going to be buried inside one of these bags somewhere. So, all right, let's get building. So here we have our first locker, and boy, did this actually take a while to build. But you can see everything kind of comes together. You've got some hooks here for hanging your clothes or whatever. It's a nice little added detail. Water bottle, you can see has a hole in it, so you can actually put it over their hand, which is a little weird. Another one of these soccer balls with the grip point in the hole that doesn't actually stick to anything. The bench is actually not supposed to go on the locker piece. It's like a separate piece. So you technically make your playset look a little bigger by setting it out separately. But really, I mean, honestly, I'm just going to stick it on here and just let it ride. We do have our podium and our backdrop over here, but you can see that, well, he's kind of short compared to that podium. Really, he needs to be standing on something. In fact, he almost needs to be standing like on the bench and then talking into the podium. And that kind of makes it look like that's what it's supposed to be. So maybe when you display it, that's kind of a better way to do it. An interesting thing, though, is that the podium, or the backdrop here, you actually make it by sticking a row of blocks in between the pips on another row of blocks. It's an interesting idea. It's something I hadn't really seen or thought of before, but that's a way to make it stand up without using some sort of weird, edge piece to make it go. So I thought that was a nifty idea. But I figure the other locker rooms are pretty much going to be the same, so we'll just build those and throw them into the tent next to these. So yeah, they are basically the same. You can see that here we've got the Coutinho Liverpool, and it looks almost identical. Couple differences, though, I guess that's worth pointing out, is you can see here on the back of Arsenal, the benches are white, the floor is white, the top of the here is white, across the top here is white. The only little bit of gold is here on the podium and on the back wall there. Whereas, over here at Liverpool, you've got gold, 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 gold. I mean, I guess maybe they just wanted you to know that there's a lot more gold at Liverpool than there is at Arsenal. I mean, I don't know. And there's Messi. There's Barcelona. So we've got our three locker room setups here. You can see the lockers. You can see the podiums, the benches. They are all basically the same. They are just different colors. So, but you can do whatever you want with these as far as like. I guess if you just want, a nice little thing to put on your shelf, this is a small one. Maybe your desk at work, it doesn't take up as much room. One thing also I noticed is that the shapes of these lockers are kind of like an arcade cabinet. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see this same company coming out with vintage arcade buildable block sets in the near future. I think that'd be pretty awesome as well. But you can see the podiums. You've got the two little microphones on here. These are also levers. So, these buildable block sets, part of the whole thing is you can build other stuff with them. So you can have some sort of crazy device. The weird thing, of course, you've got your stickers. You've got your crest, your seal for each team that's going to go on the podiums. And on the backdrops, you have those giant stickers as well. One thing that's really kind of bothersome to me is that these nameplates across the top, those are actually 2 blocks back there. Here, let me kind of dump that out a little bit. I don't know how well you can see it, but you can see there's a seam right there, a 2 block and a 4 block that make that one long piece. But then you put the sticker over it, which means you can never take these apart without destroying that label that's on there, that sticker. So that is a little awkward. That's always going to have to be a piece like that. I don't know why they didn't just make one long piece, because they make those long pieces. They're used in other spots. So you know, it's just another one of those weird things that they do. Instead of making 2 stickers or something like that, they just make one long one, but you're never going to be able to take these blocks apart without destroying that particular label. Now, because they reuse parts and things can be done time and time again, one thing that I found interesting was the back of the locker here. That's actually a door. Which is interesting. So, like when I play with my daughter, she likes to build stuff as well. We take these apart. You can make a little house or something out of it because you do have a little door there. Or, you know, if your dad does your taxes and he decides not to pay him for a couple of years and you need to make a quick getaway and escape, you know, you can do that as well. Little trolling. Oh, come on, guys. I'm just having fun here. But, you know, all in all, the characters, again, being minifigs, there's not much to them. Most of these guys just kind of have the same basic face, the same basic hair. Sanchez gets the black. Everyone else gets brown hair, just because, you know, his gets to be a little different. But it's the same mold. It's the same style. Messi, of course, nowadays he has that beard. There's no beard on this figure, but again, these figures are a little old just because we have seen some transfers. Guys have changed, and you know, if you need to step up to the podium and make an announcement, you can. Like if you're going to go, screw you guys, I'm going to Manchester United, then you've got the perfect set for putting something like that together. So, all right, now we do have the blind bag minifigs, so let's take a look at those next. Now, I did buy a handful of these blind bag figures. And again, another weird thing to me is the fact that it says soccer, but again, you go to the website and you can't find anything about soccer. There's all the other sports listed. So I don't know why we can't find that for the United States. Maybe their website just sucks, hasn't been updated in a while. But you can see that some of these figures here are the same figures that come in the other sets. It's one of the reasons why I didn't buy, like, say, the team set for Manchester City or some of those guys, because you can find a lot of these other characters within these blind bag packs, and that is kind of the problem with a lot of these things. You buy a set, you get the figure. You buy the team set, you get the figure again. You buy the locker set, you might get the same figure again, and then you buy the blind bags, and again, same figure. So if you're trying to collect a lot of stuff, I guess you're not going to find as much. But as far as, you know, if you're just wanting to buy some blind bags, get some minifigs, and get some guys out of it, or you just want to buy one set and not the other. If you're not trying to collect the whole line, then I guess that's okay. But enough blabbering as far as that goes. Taking a look at these packages, of course, blind bags, I hate blind bags. It's just one thing that always drives me crazy, because you don't really know what you're getting, and you might get a lot of extras. But I did notice on these, I'm trying to get this to show up in the light, there's a number stamped right there on the bag. So in this case, 14517 2D or ZD, I'm not sure. I think it's a 2D there at the end. Whereas this one says 15717 2D, ZD. Again, not sure if that's a Z or a 2, but they have different numbers stamped into them. Now, sometimes that's production run. These could be produced at different times, but sometimes those are a clue to what the figure is on the inside. 16017ZD. So I'm going to open these, taking a look at the number to see if maybe that makes a difference. So maybe if you guys find some of these out there, all these came from the same box on display at Toys R Us. So if you guys happen to see these numbers, maybe they'll match up to the ones you have. I'm going to open all of mine, see if there are any duplicates, because I tried to get all different numbers. So hopefully there shouldn't be any duplicates. And that'll mean those numbers correspond to specific characters. So then you'll be able to find the specific ones you want. And then if there's some that you can find different numbers that I don't have, then we'll know who's missing from my set. I think I've got 7... I think that's right. 7 different numbers I was able to find out of the 10 that they show here in this series. So we'll see what we get. But first, 16017 ZD 16017ZD. So there's no. Usually there's like a little notch that you. I'm gonna have to grab some scissors. Who do we have here? We have Harry Kane. Okay, so in this pack we've got Harry Kane, and he's got a beard. He's got his beard going. Okay, so again, 16017 is Harry Kane. All right, you know what? Let's jump through these real quick, and I can edit together a little montage of characters or whatever. So there's boop. So this was Coutinho, and this was 15717. Looks like another Messi. Yep, another Messi. And Aguero. So we got another Aguero. Loris was 15917. And Sturridge, right? This is what we got. We got Sturridge here on this one. Suarez? Ah, dang it. De Bruyne. All right. Kevin De Bruyne. All right, so as far as the figures go, I mean, technically we got a pretty good spread, although I got another Messi, and I believe, where'd it go? I'm going to grab the other Messi here and compare it, and I believe they are identical. Yep, they are exactly the same. So it looks like these are exactly the same as the ones you already have. So if I grab this Manchester City set, I mean, it's the same Aguero. So the same one. So at least I got, you know, somebody else I can add to the team. But again, if I buy the team set, then I've got extras of that same team. So hopefully these numbers mean something. If any of you guys out there buy some more of these, you can take a look at those numbers on the back and let me know which ones you got. And it'll help to hopefully build sets. Unfortunately, that doesn't help when you're buying them online because you can't look at those. And that's one of the problems with the closing of Toys R Us, is unable to check those numbers if you're going to order off of Amazon or someplace like that. But, you know, overall, I'd say I like the idea of these. It is a neat concept, I think, to put a lot of these little guys together, to have these, you know, set pieces that you can put together from the lockers with the backdrops, from having, you know, this big, if I can grab it here, having this big set piece here. And again, you know, there's another stadium set I've seen out there I may go pick up. You may see me do a video on that down the line. These are neat. And, you know, I guess one last thing we need to check is how well they interact with figures from other brands. So, hold on one second. I'm going to go grab some of these from Mega Bloks and that other line that we shall not mention, and we'll just see how well they all work together. Alright, so here's something my daughter has put together from our set of that unnamed brand of high quality. Actually, I'm actually showing them now. So these are Lego. These are Lego brand blocks. And let's see how well they fit. Fits perfectly. No problems whatsoever. Let's see. We've got some pieces here from Mega Bloks. Is it Mega Bloks? Mega Constructs, as they are called. And let's see here. These Mega Constructs, well, that's interesting. One thing I noticed putting together these sets from these sports teams is that the pips, where the mold injects is, right there, and it leaves that little mark behind. And you see that all over, if I can zoom in here, you see that on these all over the place. In every single piece that has these pips, you can see that spot there. And these mega constructs that we bought at Dollar General have that same tell. So I'm wondering if these mega constructs brand that I bought from Dollar General are actually from the same factory. That is interesting. Here's a different brand. Okay, these are Mega Blocks. Here's a different brand. These are Mega Blocks, and you can see the pip is different where it injects into the mold. The pip is kind of a concentric circle design. If I can get it to focus on that. So you can see there that it's a little different from the hole, the indentation that we get on these other new pieces. And of course Lego, they're really good at making them blend in. You can barely see them. But as far as getting all of these, I don't want to put it in the middle. I got to be able to pull it off. As far as they all fit together fine. So yeah, these pieces fit just fine with these other brands. So if you want to build, you can. And again, they do give you some nice options. There's a lot of specific pieces. Obviously, the soccer balls aren't going to do you much good in another setting. But as far as like these big green pieces are made from a ton of smaller pieces, that's going to be real easy to put together. The scoreboard piece here, it's almost like a Titantron. If you've got any of the WWE Build-A-Figures, you've got a little entryway you can put together for your own little pay-per-view there. So yeah, overall it's neat. Again, it's a little weird, the fact that you're going to end up with multiples of the same figures, just because the blind bags, the sets, these buildable play set areas, you're going to get the same figures over and over, which kind of sucks a little bit. But I guess then you can mix and match your pieces. Like for instance, if I want to take Coutinho and say, hey man, he's moved to Barcelona now. The number's going to be wrong, but at least I can put his head on the body, and now Messi's teammate is right there alongside him. Of course, now I've got a decapitated head of Lionel Messi to do something with, but nonetheless, it's some of the fun stuff that you can do playing with these things. All right, guys, hope you liked the video. Don't forget to check out Pop Culture Network for more videos, reviews, comics, toys, video game news, all kinds of stuff there. If you just want the toy stuff, you can go to thatnewtoysmell.com, which is part of the Pop Culture Network. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
Dirk, call me.